When the Academy sent its first team of scientists to the Galapagos Islands over 100 years ago, Darwin's theory of evolution was still a radically new idea. And the giant Galapagos tortoise, a convenient source of food for passing ships, was being hunted to near extinction. Through entries in his logbook, Academy herpetologist Joseph Slevin explains the mission.
It was the idea to send out our expedition so we could conduct a thorough study of the status of the gigantic land tortoise and secure specimens of various species before it proved too late. Our expedition left San Francisco on June 28, 1905, and we returned on November 29, 1906.
3 months after setting sail, the first expedition team reached the Galapagos Archipelago, a desolate group of inaccessible and largely uninhabited islands. Then, on November 5, 1905, they sailed into a lonely cove and named it Academy Bay in honor of their schooner. Equipped with only the most basic, manually operated tools, or even implements fashioned from the resources around them, the expedition team traveled deep within the inhospitable interiors of these jagged volcanic islands and hauled out tortoises weighing over 500 pounds each. Slevin's log details the experience.
August 1st, 1906. We were making the best of a heavy load over rough country. We kept going till about 5 o'clock in the afternoon when our shoulders were becoming blistered and raw. We plastered them with cocoa butter and bandages to get ready for the next tortoise.
Then, on April 18, 1906, disaster struck at home. Deemed one of the most destructive natural disasters in U.S. history, the San Francisco earthquake and fire destroyed 25,000 buildings. Although it survived the initial quake, the museum building on Market Street, along with most of its collections, was consumed in the flames of the citywide fire that followed. Assured that their families were safe, the expedition team chose to press on, knowing that these collections would now form the base of a brand new museum. The next significant expedition to the Galapagos was in 1932. With funds scarce during the Depression, Academy scientists jumped at an offer by wealthy patron Templeton Crocker to sponsor a voyage aboard his boat, the Zaka. Despite a few modest improvements like outboard motors, the islands remained remote and collecting was still primarily a manual operation almost 100 years since Darwin's historic visit. From Crocker's introduction in the Academy proceedings, a large collection of fishes was obtained by all the usual means. Dredging which was done resulted in the bringing together of a huge collection of shelled invertebrates. Along with Crocker, the Academy scientists, and a crew, the expedition team also included Toshio Aseda, an artist whose watercolors documented Galapagos marine life in vivid detail. But while scientific technology was limited in the 19th century, the addition of a movie camera signaled the beginning of a revolution in scientific documentation. For the first time, scientists were able to create a permanent record of an animal's behavior in the wild. In this expedition, Aseda's traditional paintings blend with the introduction of live documentation, a medium that would become increasingly important as a scientific tool. Then, in 1964, a team of Academy scientists joined their colleagues from the University of California aboard the Maritime Academy's Golden Bear and returned to the islands as participants in the Galapagos International Scientific Project, where more than 50 scientists with as many different interests from all over the globe spread across the islands in a joint research venture. This time, scientists gained an entirely new perspective on the islands. Helicopters gave researchers virtually 100% access to even the most stubbornly remote locations. And by 1964, the trend in scientific fieldwork had shifted from the practice of large-scale collecting to a policy of conservation and the use of research methods with low environmental impact. And as a sign of the changing times, the official dedication of the Charles Darwin Research Station took place during the expedition, reflecting this new scientific vision. The ongoing mission of the internationally sponsored research station is to protect the invaluable plant and animal species of the Galapagos Islands from the very real threat of extinction. While helicopters opened up the surface of the islands to exploration, a new world of discovery was waiting below. By the 1990s, scuba gear and underwater camera equipment had advanced considerably, allowing scientists like the Academy's John McCosker to study marine life firsthand. And with the introduction of a deep-sea submersible, scientists in the Galapagos were entering a new age of discovery. Armed with this new technology, McCosker led a 1995 expedition to the Galapagos Islands, where his discoveries on that one expedition alone added 30 new species to the scientific database.
Scientists have used scuba to study more than 300 Galapagos fish species in waters to a depth of 50 meters. With the Johnson Sea Link, we were able to extend those surveys to 1,000 meters and photograph, observe, and capture fishes and invertebrates, many of which were new records or new to science. Be sure to join me for a scuba dive and a sub dive, just around the corner.
The Galapagos are changing below and above the water. Recent immigration, increased tourism, the introduction of exotic species, and illegal fishing practices have seriously threatened the survival of the plants and animals of this unique island group. Action must be taken for future generations. Over the Academy's 100-year history in the Galapagos Islands, tool technologies, collecting practices, and research methodologies have advanced considerably. But in the end, it is the commitment of dedicated scientists and the action of concerned individuals that will preserve this living laboratory for another 100 years of groundbreaking research and new scientific discovery.